One argument is that the minority community will completely, not that it has been very strongly, but completely go against the BJP. And that's why we have Zafar Sareshwala. He's a businessman, he has political interests, and he's completely pro-Narendra Modi. And on the other side, we have Hassan Kamal, Vice President of Muslims for Secular Democracy. He has no love lost for Narendra Modi. And on the political debate, joining us, Sanjay Jha of the Congress Party. Devang Nanavati joins us. Piyush stays with us. Devang, my first question is to you. Splendid isolation. What a interesting new phrase. Majestic isolation. Your party colleague Piyush Goyal calls it. Some will say that's political suicide, that in India today you cannot be in majestic isolation because you cannot get 10% more votes. And if you don't get 10% more votes, you cannot get 220 seats. And if you cannot get 220 seats, then the Akali Dal and the Shiv Sena cannot hold your hand and take you to power. That's the reality. You refuse to face the reality. How long will this overconfidence last?
It's not overconfidence.
Let Devang answer.
Before Devang comes
this is overconfidence.
It's not overconfidence.
Well,
it's the sentiment of the masses. The arithmetics doesn't work always. In 77, arithmetics didn't work. 89, it didn't work. In 98, it didn't work. It's not about arithmetic.
It is about arithmetic.
The sentiment and it's the desire for change.
It is about
and a hope for a brighter future.
You've said this so many times on the program.
Why don't you recognize that instead of going on arithmetical calculations?
I thought you were the chartered accountant. I would focus on the numbers because the BJP Congress combined vote share is Devang Nanavati, to open up this debate with him again, is 47% in the last elections compared to 57% in 91. The Indian voter has left, the Indian voter has deserted the BJP and Congress together. It's only you two parties who refuse to accept the reality. Devang Nanavati.
Arnab, very frankly, after the rather effective and erudite defense of whatever questions that you put by Piyush, I have very little to add. But this is what I will add. You know, first of all, please look at the 2014 election electorate in India that's going to take place. It's going to be 65% is going to be under the age of 35. 65% of that electorate is going to be also urban and middle class and in metros and around metros and in towns. These calculations have not figured in any of the elections in India yet. Please let me complete. Also, the fact, as Piyush very rightly points out, the numbers and the arithmetic game, obviously after not coming to power, back to power in 2004 and 2009, how much our Piyush and I will argue, you will not believe us, fine, so be it. And I agree that it is very difficult to convince you that having lost two elections, how are we going to get the vote share back?
It's not about convincing
me. Arnab, convincing you means answering your question. The question is that being in politics, being associated, getting ground level reports from our workers, from other sources, we know what the groundswell in the country today is. And after all, at the end, I will end this opening remark by saying that Piyush and I both have been ingrained with this one sentence, that if you come along with us, then with you. If you don't come along with us, then without you. And if you oppose us, in spite of you, BJP will come to power in 2014, and this you is not you, Arnab.
This is a very George Bush kind of way of looking at the world.
They have left us in isolation.
It's a George Bush way of looking at the world. George W. Bush, not George Bush Senior.
Well, George Bush got elected
with
twice.
Me or you're against me.
George Bush.
But let me tell you this, Mr. Nanavati. Mr. Nanavati,
George Bush got elected twice.
That's all right.
George Bush got elected twice.
Don't stretch the argument.
Devang is well versed in history.
Mr. Nanavati, let me tell you this. You are smacking your lips tonight.
Please, not Mr.
You and Piyush Goyal. You and Piyush Goyal and the entire BJP are smacking your lips tonight at the possibility.
Because
1 minute, allow me to
writing on the wall.
Allow me to complete.
We'll allow you afterwards, but you must recognize that the writing is on the wall.
I cannot read.
I'm sure you also go and ask your driver, your maidservant, the people who you interact with on the roads, and you will find the groundswell of support.
Arnab, fighting against a lawyer and a chartered accountant. Arnab, you are fighting against a lawyer and a chartered accountant. You don't stand a chance.
Where is the fight? Where is the fight? The only question is this, if you allow me, please, both of you gentlemen. I am being heckled by the BJP tonight, but I will not run to the Congress for help. The question tonight is this. You're both smacking your lips, thinking it will be a Congress-BJP fight. And you know the analysis shows, and you will not be happy at it, Wherever there is a Congress-BJP fight, the Congress gains, the BJP loses. 115 seats where it was a direct Congress-BJP contest. Congress, 1 minute, Congress gained 3.1% of the vote. BJP lost 5.1% vote share. Bipolar contests work against the BJP and the Congress.
Arnab, one sec.
Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha's turn to respond.
Sanjay, kindly yield for a minute.
I'll give the floor to
Kindly yield for a minute, Sanjay.
No, he's not yielding.
Arnab, he's yielding here. He's a friend.
He's not yielding. He's not yielding, and let me control the debate.
Just a lighter vein. I think you need to get into a time machine and come out of the past into the future.
Thank you.
So that you start recognizing that all these statistics were without Narendra Modi as the leader.
Yeah, and
please recognize that.
And let me also tell you, Mr. Piyush Goyal, that in order to find out the reality of electoral politics, you need to become like Steven Spielberg. Put yourself into a nice capsule, go down to the depths of the political ocean, like Steven Spielberg did when he was shooting for National Geographic. Find out the reality and come up with the reality instead of skimming the surface and believing that the Modi factor will sweep the country alone without these numbers. Without
Sanjay Jha's turn to respond. Channels have done that.
Sanjay Jha's turn to respond.
And they have scratched the surface and the bottom and found Modi everywhere.
Sanjay Jha's turn to respond to you. Mr. Jha, this is intense polarization that the BJP is not just waiting for, but hoping for. Your response.
Arnab, first and foremost, I think it is not splendid isolation. It's a splendid, tragic isolation. Let's make a correction to that statement. In all the bravado, I've been watching Piyush for the long time. In fact, in the program that ended before. And I can tell you, behind this big bravado, this big boisterous smile, I can sense seething nervousness. And there is a lot of worry within the BJP camp. And I can also tell you this, Arnab. You know, this polarization, you talked about the minority community. Let me also tell you that it resulted in the majority community ditching the BJP in 2004. You know, it was not just the disastrous India Shining campaign that brought them, which was full of arrogance and hubris, that I hear from both Devang and Piyush. Oh, we are coming back to power in 2014. Let me tell you, we are all entitled to live in a fool's paradise. But I've always maintained rental is very, very cheap. Anybody can set up their own habitation. But the bottom line is they were rejected across the country. They were rejected across the country. And Devang, let me finish. I have a lot of respect for you, Devang. I'll just take a couple of minutes. The truth of the matter is that the JDU has left you today. And, you know, the kind of conduct that I've seen from all BJP leaders, you're circulating tapes about Nitish, you know, having praised you somewhere or the other. Why don't you go back and look at the tapes of Smriti Irani, who's a vice president of your party, and asked for the resignation of Narendra Modi for 2002 riots. She's later on denied that. But let me tell you, those are also tapes that you should circulate if you want to be fair and dispassionate. As far as this country is concerned, Arnab, in all seriousness, the polarization never works. If you try to play a hard political game and think that religious roles will again work like it did in the 1990s, India has moved beyond that. I think for all political parties, you have to recognize this. The young of this country need jobs. The young of this country of social media with a lot of fake accounts
but if India has moved beyond
Modi some inspiration. But they are not going to decide the future of this country.
But if India has moved beyond that, why don't you say, one second, please, why don't you say that this election of the year 2014 is an election that you and the BJP will both fight along with all parties on development? Why don't you promise, Sanjay Jha, that you will not bring up the religious card?
And
why don't 1 minute, let me go. Why don't you say that you will fight this election only on issues of employment, employability, industry, the country's economic progress, employment generation,
incorruptibility of government,
and issues of corruption and probity and accountability in public life? Why don't you tonight on the Newshour, Sanjay Jha, say this is our agenda for 2014? You want to do positive politics. Rahul Gandhi says he does not like negative politics. Then why don't you do that politics tonight? Make a declaration on the Newshour. I see a hand go up. And that is of Devang Nanavati.
Yes, Arnab.
Why don't you make a declaration tonight?
Since you asked me the question,
if you
asked me the question, let me respond.
Let me also caveat
on behalf of the Congress.
Let me caveat that. I'm caveating that by saying this. I'm caveating that by saying this. That if you do that, the moment you do that as the Congress party, there will be no polarization in the next election. The moment you do that. But because you're not doing it, you're also falling into the Narendra Modi
trap.
trap.
One line before Sanjay replies.
Are you willingly falling into the Modi trap?
Just one line before Sanjay
The question was,
replies.
let Devang finish and then I'll respond.
Replies.
No, let Devang ask a question.
Yeah, Arnab,
Yeah, go ahead, Devang.
Arnab, just one more line. In 2009, just before the elections, you interviewed Narendra Modi on Times Now and you asked him a question that are you for divisive or polarized politics? And Narendra Modi answered you on this very channel saying that my politics is appeasement for none, justice for all. It is the Congress who plays vote bank politics. We have never done it. If we had done it, just count the numbers, we would have...
Now Sanjay Jha respond, and after that, Zafar Sareshwala and Hassan Kamal, I'm coming to you, gentlemen. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Mr. Jha, respond.
Okay, Arnab,
respond to my question.
Full synchronicity with what you said. The Congress party has consistently maintained, and these are the simple philosophies of the party, the ideology of the party. We are secular. We believe in inclusive growth. We believe in growth with equity. That's what it means. We believe in carrying everyone along together in a path to a greater success and prosperity for the country, creating jobs, and the focus is entirely going to be on development. There's one thing that I would like to add, that in our society, there are political parties who do try and exploit religious beliefs. They try and play one community against the other. Then it becomes our responsibility
don't try to be subtle on Times Now. Be direct.
Because we
don't have to be subtle on this channel.
We will not allow any political
Which
party to mislead the nation and betray its secular fabric. Let me tell you, I was in a debate around an hour ago with somebody from the BJP, Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi, and you know what he said in that debate? Arnab, you'll be surprised. He said in that debate that if communalism is going to be good for the nation, then so be it. And he actually said, forget secularism. That is against the constitution of this country. So you have a political party when it's in its extremes of position, desperate for power.
Zafar Sareshwala and Hassan Kamal, my next questions are to you.
Then it
Mr.
is the responsibility of the Congress to fight against communal forces.
I'd like Zafar Sareshwala and Hassan Kamal to come in, please.
Sure.
Hassan Kamal.
Arnab, actually, I've been watching this since this drama being played since last so many days. This is politics of convenience and politics of opportunism at its worst. I mean, if you talk of Nitish Kumar and Janata Dal United, it's laughable. You were the railway minister in 2002. What did you do when the train was burning? Did you institute an inquiry? When you formed a government in 2005 with the BJP...
Mr. Sareshwala, we have debated that. Answer my question.
No.
Answer my question.
Answer
my question.
I'm coming to that.
Will the entire Muslim community vote against Modi?
Muslims are not so foolish.
Will the entire minority community vote against Modi? Will that trust factor ever be? Will that trust factor with the minority community come back unless Modi makes a direct and straightforward, detailed comment on the 2002 riots? Unless Mr. Modi, he comes out and speaks on 2002. You see, 1 second. Mr. Sareshwala.
Listen to me.
Mr. Sareshwala.
I'm telling you.
Mr. Sareshwala.
Muslims are not so foolish. Muslims are not so foolish not to see through these prism of opportunism and convenience. And see, Muslims are not a homogeneous group in the country. Muslims are most aspirational community in the country now. When you talk of middle class, do you think that the Muslims are not part of that middle class? When you talk of aspiration of good governance, job opportunities, health, education.
Are you saying, let's go to Hassan Kamal. Hassan Kamal, 1 second please. Mr. Sareshwala, Mr. Hassan Kamal, Mr. Hassan Kamal, Zafar Sareshwala says.
One sentence.
One second.
One sentence. Well, one sentence I want to come. Muslims are most aspirational community in the country. They have the same aspirations as anybody else has. The only difference is religion. Muslims want investment.
Mr. Sareshwala,
they want
Mr. Sareshwala, please understand. Everyone may not. You see, Mr. Sareshwala, I fail to understand.
No, it's not about Modi or
I fail to understand, Mr. Sareshwala, that a person of your experience does not consider the fact that economic progress is not necessarily an antidote to the hurt that a community may feel as a result of riots. It is not a direct antidote. You are linking the two. And you are saying there is enough economic progress for us to move on.
Arnab, I myself am a victim.
Hassan Kamal.
No. Arnab, myself, I am a victim.
Yes.
I am a victim of the riot. And I don't want my wound. I don't want my wound to be my ornament.
Because we are discussing
We don't want to create-
polarization.
And just by the way,
Hassan Kamal, let's hear Hassan Kamal.
Just hear me out for a minute. You all are harping on this issue again and again. Where is Modi culpable for any of that?
Then let
Mr. Modi has not been found to be guilty on any score
Then let
by
Mr.
3
Modi-
SITs
Exactly.
over the last 10 years of an antagonistic government. Out to nail him by hook or crook. They could not find a shred of evidence.
Hassan
him.
Kamal.
So where is the question of the minorities blaming him?
Mr.
It was
Hassan-
circumstances that overtook the
I'm
situation.
waiting for your question.
Mr. Hassan Kamal, the question is, all our three panelists tonight say 2002 is irrelevant. I maintain a position that if Narendra Modi feels that 2002 is irrelevant, then Narendra Modi should say so. If
never
one
said
minute,
it's
one
irrelevant.
minute,
He has
one
said
minute,
Modi
one
has
minute.
nothing
If
to do with
Mr. Narendra
He has said
Modi,
move on.
Mr. Narendra Modi should say so. Mr. Narendra Modi should not say the country has moved on. Then Mr. Narendra Modi should come out and say, people of the country should move on. Let there be a referendum. Let there be a verdict on whether that is right or wrong.